And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. Smasho here, coming at you from the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. And it's we're going to show you a little tutorial today about showing multiple wavelengths of the sun, because it's not any kind of a trade secret. It's open for anybody to do. Although we do show the most detailed imagery of the closest star you'll see anywhere on the internet, and the most comprehensive space weather. So this is a composite from SDO. It's the last 24 hours in two different wavelengths: ionized helium, that's 304 angstroms, and ionized iron, 193 angstroms. So check this out. This is the way you do it. Now, we do a 24-hour video, so we take this time, copy it, go over here, put in the times there, and then I use 30 frames per second. And what you want to do is create multiple wavelengths of your choosing here. So we've got 304 up top. We'll switch that to 193, and voila. There is the 304 plus 193 wavelength. If you want to include things like the Soho Lasco C2 and C3, you just add those and zoom out. Keep in mind you can only have 3 layers at a time. Make your own helio viewer movies if you like. And let's move on. So here's the last, this is the last actually 3 days in SDO intensity gram. And we do see a little bit of degradation there. Most of the activity now in the northern hemisphere. 3 large umbrae up there. And here's a colorized magnetogram for that same period. We showed a little longer period today because there's some missing data in the most recent run. Pausing for station identification here. Make sure you follow us on Twitter if you don't. And if you're paying for a blue check mark, you're crazy. Because now that everybody's able to obtain a blue check mark by paying for it, it's completely meaningless. Completely and totally meaningless. And let us know in the comments if you have a Twitter account. Again, make sure you follow us over there. If you're paying for a blue check mark, you are crazy. Because when everybody's able to obtain a blue check mark, it's completely meaningless. Twitter, it's even more pathetic than it was last year, I believe. However, there is a lot of information there to be exchanged. So despite not being able to get any followers, look, 341 followers despite 17.4 thousand tweets. Check our merch link. You can find it pinned to the top of our Twitter profile at twitter.com/smashomash. You'll find the merch link on our homepage and below this video as well. It's in order of best selling. As you can see, the best selling product there contains words that shall not be mentioned, because this video is destined for YouTube. If you're viewing on BitChute, make sure you view over on YouTube also. Check our playlists over there. You'll see content you can't find on BitChute. And today's featured product is a message of positivity. Do not pole vault the caldera. If you're going through hell, keep going. If you're going to visit a volcano, leave your vault pole at home. Don't pole vault the caldera. We need the views on YouTube so we can continue to get paid just this side of nothing to put the content on the Junkware platform. Of course, shadow bands were first described by Eric Schmidt back in 2011 to Business Insider in an article that has since been scrubbed from the internet. Yes. Why do you have to go so many pages deep to find things when you use the Google biased searchware engine? For God's sakes, folks, stop using it as a verb. But no matter how pathetic things get on the internet can break big tech. Big tech can't break the internet, although they're trying pretty hard these days. No matter how bad things get, do not pole vault the caldera. Don't throw virgins into the volcano. By the way, the massive 20 to 60% site-wide sale ends soon, so pick up your merch while that sale continues. You can also find links to our Hemp Lucid site on the homepage. Here are some of the products available. Lots of different products, including body balms, lip balms, sleep aids, Delta 8 oral strips, and more. So check out our link there. You'll find it below the video as well as on the homepage as well. Welcome to the Near Renaissance. Help us out with clicks. Visit our homepage. Check us out there. You can find us on Gab, Getter, Bides, Locals, Facebook, Twitter. We've got a Facebook group, permanent invite link to our Discord chat. There's the PayPal link. We're still on Patreon, the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SmashAmash, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, etc. You'll also find links to SureMed and Hemp Lucid there on the homepage. SureMed, improve your health with a membership with the American Better Health Organization Incorporated, otherwise known as SureMed. Get doctors by phone, counselors by phone, virtual veterinarians, discounts on dental, vision, pharmacy, and lots more with your SureMed base membership. It also allows you to purchase group insurance. Check out the link on the homepage as well as on the Smash Team page at smashobash.com/Smash Team. If you want to support us via a subscription membership, become a gold or silver Smash Team member. If you'd like email alerts for disasters, join at the gold or silver level or the bronze level. And of course, if you join at the gold annual paid up subscription level, it is the best value. You'll receive a complimentary merch item, such as this. That design only available to gold annual paid up subscribers. Smashomash.com/Smash Team. We replace Patreon with a superior website of our own design. And let's get back to the reporting. This is volcanoes. Eruptions include Abico, producing a 14,000-foot ash plume. Popocatépetl, producing a 20,000-foot ash plume. Flight level 200. Central America includes Fuego in Guatemala, producing a 15,000-foot ash plume. Flight level 150. Flight level 190 over the Ecuadorian Sangay. Sabancaya in Peru, exploding. Flight level 230. 23,000-foot ash plume. Don't pole vault the caldera. It could be unhealthful. Next, looking at earthquakes, and it's a whole lot calmer than it was yesterday. There's the past 90 days. We broke the earthquake drought with a deep quake in between Fiji and New Zealand. Since then, the largest quakes have been aftershocks in that area, like this 5.1, still at extreme depth, over 650 kilometers estimated depth for that apparent aftershock. Remember, folks, any earthquake can be a foreshock, so stay vigilant. Largest quake of the past 24 was actually a 5.4 at India. Looks like it's in the eastern Himalayas. Vanuatu had a 5.2. That one just came in as we did show prep. Next, getting back to space. That, my friends and foes, is the house favorite wavelength, 171 angstroms. It shows the lower corona, and it is ionized iron. And good morning to you, Tin Man 1057. That's the last 24 hours. And let's take a look at another classic wavelength. The ionized helium alone, 304 angstroms. Interestingly, we've had a reduction in sunspot number, but an increase in the 10.7 centimeter radio flux, which has come up to 138 solar flux units. And there it is in context. That's the 1-year chart of the radio flux, the black line there. The red line below it is the sunspot number. And for those of you paying attention, these two data sets are proportional. Let's look at the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard to see no space weather storms predicted, no geomagnetic unrest or geomagnetic storms there in NOAA's forecast. Here is Earth's magnetic moment from space for the past 4 hours. And things are quite geomagnetically calm. We've got a very slow and diffuse solar wind. So it's a low pressure environment at the moment. And here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. Not a lot of aurora expected to be seen, and not a lot of tweets about the aurora being seen because they keep seeing political nonsense. Yes, political nonsense. I keep seeing tweets from accounts that I don't even follow who keep referring to the U.S. government as a democracy. And no matter how many times they chant it like mindless cultists, it will remain a republic. So that's the last 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. Planetary K index pushing 0. It's a KP 0.33. Very geomagnetically calm conditions here at the moment. And no expectation of any space weather storms or geomagnetic unrest. Now we do see a little uptick here. Keep in mind that was an instrument switch also. So there was some high density solar wind being detected there. A period there where it made it over 100 protons per cubic centimeter as measured by the ACE. This moment right here, it made it to 138 protons per cubic centimeter out there at Lagrange point 1. But that was just probably something like a minor CME impact there. We don't see any major shifts in the magnetic fields or anything like that, and we see a fairly solid signal there. So probably legit data. There's a little break up there, a little bit of plasma showing up at Lagrange point 1. Current conditions are only 317 kilometers per second for the solar wind speed. Very low solar minimum-esque solar wind speed. Solar wind density about 4.5 protons per cubic centimeter. Here are your GOES magnetometers. Seeing a little higher highs and higher lows there over the past 24 hours. And let's take a look at the top view ecliptic plane field plot. We are witnessing the north solar polar field slowly making its way away from the north polar region there. Finally leaving the north polar region, I think. You can see it shrinking there over the past few days. As solar cycle 25 is progressing in a way where the south polar field migration is ahead of the north. Here's our line of sight field plot. We do have some minor coronal holes rotating in. Let's take a look at those. This coronal hole that we'll see in the southern hemisphere is north pole oriented. You can see a solar polar smiley face being created here in the Gong 2 data. Check it out. Are you seeing that? And here's the last 24 in 211 angstroms. So this is a North Pole-oriented coronal hole down here, along with this little area right here. That's all North Pole-oriented coronal hole. They are quite minor here. Not expecting really any sort of space weather to be showing up from those. Let's move to sunspots next. We might see a reduction here in the radio flux, although at the moment we've got several large sunspots here directly in the Earth-facing zone. So just about to move past the center heliographic longitude. Sunspot 3141 is the main sunspot to watch. There is an active region rising down here in the southeast. So that's something to keep an eye on. And let's take a look at the SDO magnetogram for the past 24 hours. Here's a zoom in. So those sunspots mostly stable there for that period. And let's switch to the SDO continuum. So a little bit of growth up here. Mostly stable there over the past 24 hours. There are still multiple sunspot groups in the northern hemisphere, though. And let's move to energetic particles. We ain't got none. We did have some interesting flaring happening yesterday. We'll take a look at that next. There was a C4 solar flare. And that came from a plage, actually. I don't even believe that came from a sunspot. It was from this plage down here. Not even a sunspot, a prime example of how you don't need sunspots to produce solar flares. Let's subtract the SDO continuum there and just have the 94 angstroms. There was a CME associated with that solar flare as well. Let's zoom out to show the full disk. There's the last 24 and 94 angstroms. If you're looking up before dawn in the Lehigh Valley, this is what you might see. Mars and the moon setting over there as Cygnus swipes across the northern horizon, soon to rise again. The constellation Cygnus, which contains the brightest object visible from our solar system, the star Deneb, otherwise known as Cygnus X3. Our regular viewers have probably heard of it before. The only known cosmic ray point source. Let's do a solar system forecast here. We've currently got a gibbous waning moon as Mercury and Venus swing around to return to prograde motion. Let's advance this solar system diagram 1 week. Keep in mind, it is not to scale. There's where things will be in a week. We will have a crescent waning moon. Next, we've got a comet here looking like it's been broken up as it does not emerge from the other side of the coronagraph. We wondered what would happen yesterday, and I believe it disintegrated. That's yesterday's coronagraph imagery. Here's today's coronagraph imagery, and you can see Mercury emerging from behind the coronagraph. And let's take a look at some more views here from Stereo A at Lagrange 5 and the Soho-Lascaux C3 at Lagrange 1. So interestingly enough, you'll see this comet dive in, and then you see Mercury come out. Looks like that comet did not make it. Oh, you can actually see, it looks like it's breaking up there from Stereo A. Check it out. You can actually see it. It looks like it broke in two. Nice. So no earthly directed CMEs here, folks. This is a lot of plasma here suspended out by those sunspots. There are a lot of filaments in between the Earth and the Sun here at the moment. We've got some more imagery of coronagraphs for you. Here's the last 24. You can see that comet coming in and Mercury coming out from behind the coronagraph. And let's zoom out a little bit. Fantastic imagery there from Soho-Lascaux C2, C3, and the SDO as Venus leaves the frame. Good stuff. And thanks for leaving a comment, Mike Bordages. So here is our ground-based solar observatory at El Teide, Spain, showing hydrogen alpha. Lots of dark absorption features there visible. There are a lot of filaments in between the Earth and Sun, so don't be surprised. Once again, the coronal mass ejection likelihood is nearly 100%. Lots of dark features there. Solar filaments showing up as absorption features in 6,562.8 angstroms. Here's the last about 2.5 hours from the GO 16 SUVi with its great wide field of view. It's fantastic at showing coronal mass ejections. We streamed one yesterday. The one that came from this region down here in that C4 class flare. And if you want to view our live streams, we do it on the daily at twitch.tv/smashomash. Here's another type of composite that we like. This is 304 plus 171 angstroms. Another great composite wavelength there. It's great at showing filaments. And it really does give the solar corona a 3D appearance, because that corona is very, very bumpy. And this helps to illustrate that. So let's move to bonus features. We've got clear sailing for satellites here. No charging hazards at all at the moment. Electron flux here toying with warning levels again. We haven't really gotten very high, just barely into warning levels yesterday. Here is the NOAA forecast, expecting a little uptick there in the electron flux. I have no comment on that. There's the 1-year graph to put it in context. Let's take a look at the F ionosphere, which is, by the way, the reason we show the F ionosphere here at this moment in the video is because this measurement is taken from a geosynchronous orbit at about 22,500 miles of altitude using radiography at this level. So the GO 16 and GO 17, they measure the electron flux at the F layer of the ionosphere. And this is what's going on in terms of vibrational frequency in that slice of the bridge between Earth and space. So we've got massive low-frequency anomalies here once again. They'll be really evident to you in the next series of frames. Here's the anomalygram for the F ionosphere layer. And check out those long-lasting low-frequency anomalies in the Central Atlantic, Central Pacific, and moving into the Northern Pacific also. So some significant low-frequency anomalies happening there. Places like around the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the equatorial Atlantic Ocean. Let's bring up the latest frame and move on. We don't want the video to be too lengthy. There is the latest frame. That's 11:30 Universal Time ionogram, 11:30 Universal Time anomalygram, and there you can see once again a low-frequency anomaly showing up around India and China. A low-frequency anomaly over China. Okay, China. Next, the electron flux. The total electron content is showing the electrons between your GPS satellite and your handset. Those GPS satellites are at about 12,500 miles of altitude, right on the inner portion of the outer Van Allen belt. If you're not familiar with those distances, feel free to pause the video on this frame. So here is the total electron content over North America. The full global view is busted right now for the total electron content forecast, so we can't show it. It's showing data from October 27th. So that's the electron content. Here is the standard deviation. And here is the anomalygram. That's literally a count of the free electrons from the inner portion of the outer Van Allen belt down to your handset at ground level. Next, our latest intensitygram and latest colorized magnetogram. Excuse me. I don't know what happened there. Wow. So there are our relevant sunspot groups. I lost my voice. Okay, that's better. So this group right here might get a name, actually. That is a significant beta gamma class sunspot group. This group down here, beta gamma class. This group up here, only alpha class. Here's your rock back. Oh, we've got an active region rising here. Let's see if we can see any umbre. I think it's a little too early for that. But we do see that field coming up over the horizon. Man. Excuse me. And let's bring up one more series of composite images. This should be interesting. This will be that is colorized magnetogram plus 171 angstroms, and again there's some missing data there, so it's going to look a little jerky. I assure you the sun is not jerking around to that degree. That just ain't the way things work. And let's continue on to our meteorology segment. First, take a moment to press like and subscribe. Press share. Tell your friends and foes about the content. Thanks for tuning in to the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. It's only the most detailed space weather video you'll find in the world. Also the most detailed imagery of the sun you'll find anywhere. Check our playlists for videos of different types. We don't only do space weather videos because we don't really care about the ridiculous, quote, rules, and quote, of YouTube. It's just complete nonsense. So we've got videos about do one thing and videos about riding and driving and so on. So check those out if you haven't. And let's take a look at the largest waves in the world. You may think the largest waves in the world are by Florida, but they're actually out by the Aleutian Islands. Nearly 40-foot waves there in the northern Pacific. Yes. Facts. That is a strong low pressure. And it is a stronger low pressure than this low pressure down here. However, there are some big waves there. 26-footers just off the coast of Florida. We'll show you some forecasts as to what's going to happen next with that. And here are the surface winds of the eastern world. A strong anticyclone down here in the Southern Ocean. See that counterclockwise rotation, an indication of high pressure down there. Here is the jet stream scenario for the eastern world. Here is the jet stream scenario of the western world. And here are the surface winds. Surface winds of the central world. And the jet streams, which, by the way, are the single best feature to look at to predict global weather patterns. If you had to look at only one feature, jet streams would be a great one to choose. And let's take a look at the sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean. This is the shortwave radiation map, so it shows clouds and fog even at nighttime. Since water emits radiation, yeah, it's the greenhouse effect. Yeah, infrared radiation. It's emitted by water vapor. That's a real thing. Another fun fact, carbon dioxide is not a pollutant. It's the basis of every food chain. So there is clouds and fog. And let's continue on to our weather.gov map. If your county's lit, click your county. We've got blizzard warnings over Minnesota, South Dakota, and North Dakota. Let's scroll down just to show the key. As tropical storm warning is over most of Florida. That low pressure is right over, just north of Orlando right now. Again, if your county is lit, head to weather.gov, click your county. We can't show all of those counties. Weather.gov, and here is your 66-hour total accumulated precipitation forecast. And there are heavy rains coming to lots of places. That's a GFS model for the next 66 hours. And here is the 72-hour pressure and precipitation forecast. And look at the ice storm that's forming. Major ice storm happening up here. You see all that pink? That's a huge ice storm. That's a GFS model for the next 72 hours. And since we've got blizzard warnings, here is your accumulated positive snow depth change forecast in inches. And yeah, some serious snow there coming to North Dakota mainly. That's a 66-hour forecast, by the way, based on the GFS model. Continuing on, here is where the pressure system currently lies. Let's zoom out and do the European forecast. This is the European model for pressure. It's expected to make a turn to the north and then to the northeast. So it's going to weaken, and it's still going to bring a lot of rain as it makes its way up toward New England. And it looks like it gets a little bit stronger as it gets to New England, interestingly enough, strengthening over Maine and Nova Scotia. By 72 hours, it'll be up in the North Atlantic, expecting a strong low to form there off of Greenland. Continuing on, here's our NASA GOES lightning mapper, and we do indeed have some lightning over portions of the north central U.S. Let's see if we have any current terrestrial strikes on our real-time lightning map from lightningmaps.org. And we do indeed have some thunder and lightning. South of St. Paul. Hey, Owatonna. There is thunder rolling in. Faribault. Thunder rolling in there as well. Some additional small cells around there, such as this one here. Those lightning strikes brought to you by Led Zeppelin's Oso. Continuing on, here is our U.S. Doppler radar map showing the full 50 states of ALSA, the allegedly United States of America. We'll focus on the lower 48 to close out the video. So there's what's going on at the moment. Blizzard warnings over large portions of North Dakota. Here is our, whoops. We've got to refresh that. Please bear with us. We will bring you the clouds and fog and the water vapor. It has expired. So there is clouds and fog over the lower 48. The heck? Here is water vapor. And here's your recap. Ground-based Doppler radar systems. That's a lot of moisture. Clouds and fog. And water vapor to close things out. Once again, thanks for tuning in to the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-O-Mash, signing off. And may that solar wind be at your back.